Hello, and welcome back to Gabby's Happy Tales. In this segment, I met with Jessica Himes, a freshman here at UNI who overcame significant adversity in her life and had the amazing opportunity to compete in the 2016 Paralympic Games in Rio de Janeiro, and also won Female Field Athlete of the Year in 2017. When Jessica was born, she lost part of her leg due to a rare birth defect called amniotic banding. Some parts of the amniotic sacs between her and her twin were tangled, which in turn cut off circulation to their bodies. Unfortunately, her sister did not make it. This also caused Jessica's right leg to not form properly, and when she was 1 year old, her parents decided to amputate the part of her leg that wasn't forming normally.
For the most part, I feel like my life is average or about the same as what it would be without it. I know that my life has been different just because growing up I had small minimal things I had to adapt to, gym classes or recess. I couldn't walk around or run around the same way that most of the kids could. Even growing up sports, I had to adapt to different things that you normally wouldn't have to think about, like running and going back and forth. My leg couldn't handle that. But for the most part, my family has really encouraged me to adapt to it normally, and they haven't made a big deal about it.
Although Jessica did not have the typical childhood, she was able to find normalcy within sports, and at the age of 10, found her passion within the sport of track and field.
Growing up, I tried lots of different sports. I did the basketball, the softball, all the sports that normally kids try, but I decided track or running in specific was my favorite. It's more of an individual sport, and I found that I could push myself better. There were times, and I liked being able to finish a race and see what my time was and being able to be competitive against myself. I like being a part of a team, which is why I like track, because individual, but you still get to celebrate with the team in whole.
Due to her competitive nature, Jessica wanted to push herself to the highest level within track and field, which was the Paralympics.
So the Paralympics is a sister games to the Olympic Games. Olympic Games is a broad one for all the athletes, and Paralympics is specific to athletes with physical impairments. So they're broken up by categories. There are blind categories, wheelchair categories, and ambulatory categories. I'm an ambulatory, so I'll compete against people with minor to severe leg impairments. I found out about them when I was 12 years old. My mom saw I was running against all the other athletes or kids my age, and she knew that I wanted to be able to compete with people that looked like me or had the same challenges as I did. So she found a meet down in Oklahoma that was for children with disabilities. So we went down there, and there we were able to learn about the Paralympic movement, and that kind of sparked the dream even more for me to continue to track.
Once she realized her dream of competing in the Paralympics, she worked harder than ever to achieve her goal.
My training, it has become increasingly more difficult throughout the years. I did my average high school training for my freshman and sophomore year of high school. And then junior year, I started working with private coaches for both sprints and for throwing. And this ramped up my training a lot. I did off season, so I did all through the summer and fall, and then would start back up in the spring with high school track, and then I would go into the summer with my Paralympic track. So it was basically a year round.
Her training paid off when she was able to fulfill her dream in 2016 when she competed in the Paralympic Games in Rio de Janeiro.
The Olympic and Paralympic teams are chosen through Olympic trials that are done this summer. In 2016, they were done the week of the 4th of July. So you had to qualify by national and regional times, and if you were chosen to go to the meet, you would compete there. And the top 3 in each event were chosen for eligibility for the team, and from there they created a list based on your time versus the world record time or world record distance, and then they created the team slots and chose the top 80 athletes from there. I did the 400 and the discus at the games. I placed 8th for discus and 7th in finals for 400.
In addition to Jessica competing at the Games in Rio, she was also named Female High School Field Athlete of the Year in 2017.
Athlete of the Year selection is similar to the Olympic team selection, where they take your best time of the year and compare it to the world records. And so they took all the high school athletes and made a list of theirs, and I came out as the top female athlete.
Both of these achievements have had a huge impact on Jessica's journey, and despite her physical setbacks, she still remains a positive and outgoing person.
Everything so far has really helped fuel more of my passion for the sport. I have been able to travel so many places, and so I've gotten love for the culture and for the world, and so when I come back here, that helps me to drive for culture here and for like social norms here, and it helps fuel my love for track and helps me want to continue in the future. There's always a way out of, or at least a way around, difficult times. You can't avoid them, but you can find a way to help them help you. So I always try to take something negative and find something positive out of it.